Very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ASEAN+6 Mergers and Acquisitions Practice workshop this afternoon. My name is Raphael Tay. I'm a director of the ASEAN+6 program, as well as a partner of Lee, Hishamuddin, Allen and Gladhill in Kuala Lumpur. This is an introduction to M&A, Mergers and Acquisitions in ASEAN+6. It's been taken directly from Module 2 of the LLM program. So what you are listening today in this workshop is Module 2 of that workshop. Mergers and Acquisitions across the world, USA and Europe. What is probably quite interesting to understand is that mergers and acquisitions is primarily driven by the United States. Being a global economic power in the last couple of decades, they are the prime movers of mergers and acquisitions. Followed by United Kingdom, France, Germany, and of course lately China. In the Asia Pacific region, you would find that Japan tops in terms of the Asia Pacific region, with Japan more active than in Europe, representing some 26% of the market share in 2015. So that's fairly large. Now, Japan traditionally, as a foreign investor, acquirer of companies within the Asian region, is been going on for quite a few years. But you'll probably see from the latest statistics in 2018 that Korea is now fast catching up as well. In terms of Asia Pacific, like I said, increasing level M&A activity in China, South Korea, and interestingly, actually in Thailand. Thailand is a major M&A market. The 2017 slowdown due to Brexit and the presidential elections of United States, and some of the doubts of TPPA, which of course now has been replaced. So there was a slight slowdown in 2017. This chart actually then tells you the trends of M&A activities across Asia Pacific in 2017. Now, you will notice that it probably peaked in the year 2015. 2016 and 2017, there was a slight slowdown. 2018, the latest statistics, which are not available here, but it shows that it's maintained and it's probably showing an increase. Now, this is M&A activities in ASEAN for 2014 to first quarter 2017. You will see that this column here, Thailand makes the bulk of all M&A activities in the ASEAN region, followed by Indonesia and Vietnam. Singapore comes fourth. Now, what's interesting about this chart? What is interesting is that Thailand has got a major share of M&A activities. Why Thailand? Followed by Indonesia. Why Indonesia? Well, there are speculative reasons for this. In Thailand, for example, not only that because there is a huge market, local population, but their laws are fairly liberal, are fairly open to foreign investors, so you see that. Indonesia is second. You also see that because Indonesia is a huge market, large market, followed by Vietnam, interestingly. Now, many commentators and many lawyers, many analysts within the region feel that Vietnam is the country to watch in the next 5 years. It has got a very large local domestic market. The people are hungry, they are willing to work hard, and there is lots of opportunities. Then why Singapore? Why followed by Singapore and Philippines? Well, there is a reason for Singapore, because Singapore whilst it's very, very small geographically, it has got a lot of multinational companies that are headquartered in Singapore. So you see that a fair amount of M&As take place within Singapore, which is large ticket ones, but again, it's because they feel that entry into Singapore is entry into the ASEAN market. So you see that. On the next slide, ASEAN is top for an inbound M&A. This is 2017 statistics. You'll see that. And out of that, you will probably want to identify some of these industrials and chemicals, financial services, very big in Singapore, transportation, consumer, business services, real estate, pharma, medical, and biotech. So this chart tells you the ASEAN foreign inbound target sectors for 2014 to 2017. Now, the local trend in 2018, what is interesting also to note is that because of the trade wars, current ongoing trade wars between the United States and China, it has affected Asian M&A acquisitions. Okay. What are the strategic motives and key factors that propel M&As? I think what's important to understand is that the general economic situation, growth and geographical development is one of the key factors. Technical innovation, new markets, changes in the value chain, regulation, antitrust, tax and accounting, international agreements are also a very important factor. Management techniques, many companies acquire other companies because not just for market access, which we'll see later on, but it's management techniques. Now, management techniques is no longer what perhaps 10, 20 years ago, people acquired companies for their intellectual property, i.e. innovation, technology, and so forth. But increasingly, you're seeing companies acquire other companies because of their specialist information and knowledge in certain sectors. So you're seeing a lot of that. Financial markets, obviously, financial markets, particularly in Singapore, is actually it's an entry point for many of the banks and financial institutions. Social behavior, social acceptance for risk-taking, profit, social demand for safety net, public against private sectors. So these are some of the general strategic motives and key factors that either allow M&As to take place or discourage M&As to take place. Now, what are key factors in terms of influence? At the top level, you'll see the global level, which means global factors, geopolitical factors. Why would a company decide to leave their own jurisdictions to acquire companies elsewhere? There's a global reason for that. There's a national reason because certain countries have better regulations, easier entry points. Industry level, for example, is another one. Industry. If you're in mining industry, if you're an Australian mining industry, where would you go to apart from Australia? You can look for different sources of resources. You want to go to Africa, you want to go to Asia, you want to go to other countries. Corporate levels. Corporate levels is another reason. Many companies change the type of what do you call sectors that they're in order to gain market share. So these are some of the factors that would influence M&As in terms of why and how M&As take place. Oops. Right. Corporations should consider M&A for the following reasons. One of them is market share. Market share has become increasingly important. No company that has grown large is able to sustain its growth within a domestic market. It is just a non-starter now. To boost corporate performance and revenue, that's another one. Number 3, transformation advantage to anticipate future business opportunities. Many of the M&As that you are seeing, for example, in the Mekong Delta, i.e. Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar, it's to gain market share. It is for a future advantage. Many of these societies may not be able to afford the cost of your service, of your product currently, but in due course, in time, corporations believe that there will be large markets for them. Number 4, to gain valuable capabilities to build strength and scale resources. Don't ever underestimate the importance of local capabilities. There was a time that people used to think that you could replicate everything that you did in the domestic market. But I think history and economics have taught many of these corporations to understand that it doesn't happen that way. It is very important to localize. It's very important to understand the cultural nuances of each and every market you are in. So for example, Malaysia being a majority Muslim country, some of the products that you try to sell may not be able to be sold in Malaysia, not because it's a bad product, but because of the marketing strategies. Same way in Buddhist majority Thailand, some of these apply as well. So you need to understand the local cultural nuances.